In Iraq, we've got an unfortunate situation brewing. We've got a group that has taken over several different cities, and oh boy, they're called the Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant. Let me show you a picture of their rallies. They're all in black, they've got the masks on, and they've got the black flag that they are planting all over Iraq. Now, first city that they took over was Fallujah. You might remember that from when we were in Iraq. That was a particularly difficult city to hold. Some of our contractors were hung on bridges in Fallujah. Now they are held by the Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant. Then they went to Mosul, and they said when going there, quote, "We are going to enter upon them through the gates." So they've got these fun little sayings, and guess what happened? They took Mosul. Mosul is the second largest city in Iraq. Gone. Let me show you what the highways look like after these guys came through. You know what that is? That's the soldiers' uniforms that they left behind as they ran in a panic. Damn. Now, what is the Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant known for? Well, many things. First of all, they were so extreme that Al-Qaeda disavowed them. They're to the right of Al-Qaeda. So now they had formed an alliance with a particular group in Syria. They started off fighting in Syria against Assad's government. Now remember, they're Sunni, Al-Qaeda is Sunni, so they're supposed to be on the same side. They're fighting against Assad, which is more on the Shiite side, right? The government of Iraq, also Shiite, right? So they're also fighting against the government of Iraq. And so Al-Qaeda, where they came from, should of course be a natural ally, but these guys, Al-Qaeda felt was so extreme that they couldn't support them anymore. Why? First of all, they would live tweet fun things like amputations. Oh boy. Okay, and then of course they would go wherever they got literally their hands on and impose very strict Sharia law, and then just for a little bit of extra terror and horror, they would do public crucifixions in open squares. So we're going back a couple of thousand years here with these guys. Okay, so they took Mosul, and then they decided, hey, you know what? We're a bit of a roll here. Why don't we go to Baiji? Now, why is Baiji relevant? Only the largest oil refinery in Iraq. Guess what happened there? They took it. Everybody ran for the hills. They said, you need to immediately surrender. We're coming. And they surrendered. So now the Iraqi government is in a bit of a panic. Let me read you their quotes. Here's Iraq's Prime Minister Nouri al-Maliki. He's trying to downplay it. He says, Iraq is undergoing a difficult stage. Okay, that's one way to put it. Okay, now, Parliament Speaker Osama al-Nujaifi said, what happened is a disaster by any standard. The presence of these terrorist groups in this vast province threatens not just the security and the unity of Iraq, but the whole Middle East. Oops. All right, Iraq's Foreign Minister Hoshyar Zabari says this is, quote, a serious mortal threat. In case that wasn't clear enough, finally we go to Iraqi Governor Atil Nujaifi, and he says this will reach every corner of Iraq if it doesn't stop. So here we are. Hey, Iraq, enjoy your liberation! How'd you like that little war we started? Now, what did we tell you before the Iraq war? Number one, of course, said it's a terrible idea. Number two, it would destabilize the region. Number three, it would obviously split the Sunnis, the Shiites, and the Kurds in Iraq, and that is exactly what's happening now. These guys are capturing most of the Sunni territory. The Kurdish territory is already run by their own forces, Peshmerga, and now the Shia government, that is the official government of Iraq, is under a bit of a panic, and they're like, hey, anyway, Kurds, yeah, you're on our side, right? Right? Can you send that Peshmerga to help us out a little bit? Because we're getting our ass handed to us. And the Kurds are like, maybe, maybe not. We're going to have to see what's in it for us. This thing is disintegrating. Now, this group also controls territory in Syria, and their goal is to unite the Sunni territory in Syria and Iraq. We draw the borders completely. The Iraq War, what a brilliant idea that was. Now, some idiots, neocon hawks, will come out and be like, you see, that's why we should have never left Iraq. No, that's why we should have never gone into Iraq. You stirred up a hornet's nest, and lo and behold, you got hornets. One last thing that I said before the war, and you can go back and check our archives on it. Well, you actually can't because they're not on YouTube. You'll have to trust me on this. I said, look, once you start a war, who is more likely to win? The guys that are the most vicious, the most violent, the most radical. The guys who are wonderful progressives and peaceniks don't usually win catastrophic civil wars. So what we did was we empowered the radicals, and now they're running roughshod throughout the Middle East. Well played, George Bush. Well played.